fires, extreme temperatures, floods, hurricanes, storms, and melting ice. Those are the headlines we have in our minds when we think about climate change. What many of us don't think about are those affected by climate change. I've had climate change being described as a code red for humanity. But for me and the people I work with, climate change is a code red for girls at risk of child, early, and forced marriage. I am the CEO of Girls Not Brides, the largest global platform and partnership for over 1,600 organizations working in over 100 countries with a shared vision for a future where girls have an equal status with boys and they can choose who and when they want to marry. But let me tell you how child marriage looks like. In February 2020, just before the COVID lockdown, I had the privilege to visit my partners in India, a country I love for its food and for its people, and of course the sunshine. And I was so honored to sit with a group of young girls telling me how they walk in their villages, walking with parents, and persuading them to allow their daughters to go back to school and say no to child marriage so that their children can have a different choice. As I sat there and all 26 girls shared the stories of the girls of the lives they had transformed, I was so inspired, but I was wondering what motivates these girls to go from village to village, persuading parents to say no to child marriage. As the stories came to an end, we all walked out of this beautiful circular room we are sitting in to the sunshine for a cup of tea. One of the girls who was sitting close to me came over and asked me if we can take a selfie. And I obliged. I said yes. We never said no to selfies. And I thought this is a perfect opportunity for me to ask her the question which had been on my mind. So I asked her, what motivates you to champion other girls? She kindly shared her story with me. She told me that she had been married by the age of 12. And she knew deep down, she knew, like all 12-year-old girls know, she knew she was born for more. She knew she was born not to be a child bride. She did not want that label in her life. She had dreams, she had hopes, she had desires. And one of her dreams was not to be a child bride or to be a mother at the age of 13. So she ran away and went and persuaded and begged her parents to allow her to go back to school. Luckily, they did. They allowed her to go back to school, and she eventually joined a group of adolescent girls in her own community working to end child marriage. And that is the reason she was in that room that morning. As I listened to her through the break tea, I reflected on myself at the age of 12, and I wondered, would I have had the courage to persuade my parents to say no? Would I have had the courage to tell them to allow me to go back to school? Would I have had the courage to champion other girls? But I would not even have the audacity to call hers a story of courage. I think hers is a story of deep determination and survival, because child marriage robs girls their freedom, their choice of who they want to become, and the opportunity to fulfill their dreams. As I flew back to London later that night from India, her story just struck me so deep, and it has stayed with me ever since. But one thing I knew for sure, hers is not an isolated story, because globally, an estimated 12 million girls are married every year before the age of 18. That translates to 23 girls every minute. So by the time I finish speaking to you this afternoon, the 12 or so minutes I speak to you, 276 girls will have been married somewhere in the world. 276. That is what child marriage does. So why am I telling you about this? What is the relationship between child marriage and climate change? We know that in humanitarian context, be it be conflicts, be it be natural disasters, be it be forced migration. Almost always, the people who bear the brunt of this crisis are girls. We have had stories of how farmers are losing crops, are losing homes as a result of floods and cyclones. And when this happens, the people who really suffer the consequences are girls. A report by Human Rights Watch found that in Bangladesh, as a result of cyclones, parents were marrying off their daughters because they had really been exposed to poverty. They saw it as a safer option for their own daughters to escape poverty. Similarly, in Mozambique, as a result of drought, farmers are losing crops, they are losing their household economy, they are losing everything, which makes them who they are. And the only choice they have is to sell their daughters for a bright price. As young as 12 sometimes. We have even heard from value chain experts that even in countries where there are no floods, where there are no cyclones, they are experiencing new diseases which are destroying crops. And when food insecurity hits a home, the first choice is to try and reduce the number of mouths to feed. And child marriage seems like a simple solution to fix that problem. So I'm here to tell you that we are all partners in this. Whether you are a climate change expert or you are a child marriage expert, we are all partners with this because I believe we can only win if we all win. Child marriage movement and the climate change movement are natural allies. We need to work together. We need to find solutions together. And as we do so, we need to put girls at the heart of those solutions. Girls must be the center of our strategy and focus. Girls know what they need. They know the dreams they have. We have to put them at the forefront of our advocacy efforts so that they campaign for their own needs. We know we can do this. Let us lean on the determination of the 12-year-old girl I met in India. Let us lean on that. Let that give us hope that change is possible. Let's talk to whoever dares to listen that climate change is not just forest fires. It's not just melting ice. It's not just hurricanes. It's not just storms. Climate change increases the risk of girls at risk of child marriage. It's putting girls at risk. Climate change is a code red for girls, and the clock is ticking. Thank you.